tomorrow's another story.
Yes, well, it's so weird. We wait for this, and it's finally here, and we become. It almost becomes like, okay, it's here now. What, right? And I'm glad that it's here. This has been one of the most long summers that winters that I've experienced. I'm over it. Okay, but your tan looks good. If you're just joining me, welcome to Tea and Conversation. I'm just setting up. I was trying a couple of the things, Jason. I don't know if you saw, but I was trying to, you know how you go on some Facebook pages, they have the banner and all this other stuff. So I'm trying to experiment with some of these additional options so that I can start kind of driving the traffic a little bit more and making certain that, the branding and stuff is still there. The Tea and Conversation has kind of grown more than I had even anticipated when I initially did it. I don't have any special guests on today because I wasn't even 100% sure with last week. And then this week with the holiday, I didn't even know if I was going to do it, but I'm going to do it because we're going to just talk about nonsense, Jason, okay? Because I am over some of the nonsense. And it's very, it's one of these things where even the most seasoned politicians like myself find ourselves in these weird predicaments, right? Where you're just like, what? And I realized as a person out here campaigning, and I'm going to share some of the stories that I've encountered over this past weekend because I didn't do the parades. I just didn't do them. I decided, as opposed to going to walk in parades with a bunch of politicians, that I'm going to be out there where those people are that are more likely than not to be the ones. They're not attending no parade. They're going to be the ones that are actually, voting, the ones who didn't attend the parades. But in any event, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about
right now. Are you in heat right now, or what's going on? No. You want to do this?
Are we on? Does everybody here? I don't know if I'm getting some background and noise in the background for somebody else because there's nobody else on the line, so it isn't me, okay, Jason. But I'm on hyper alert because I know we have these people that raid the show. But in any event, the other thing that I've noticed is downtown Chicago. A lot of people went to the beach today. The police are on heightened alert. I don't know if you saw this, but people that go to the beach they're being essentially frisked before they get on the beach. What do you think of that? Is that a good idea, Jason? I mean, what is your thoughts? I mean, this is a public beaches. Now they're doing kind of cavity searches before you get or can go to the beach. I mean, what is our thoughts with that? And you know what? I think it's tough. So before you answer, this is one of those tough times, right? Because in a lot of ways, you want the police coverage, right? But how do we do it without infringing on people's rights? How do we do that?
Well, I guess, that is a tough question. Ultimately, I'm definitely not for stop and frisk, random stop and frisk and let's run your name and see who you are and what you're doing simply from walking to point A to point B, regardless of what those points are. If you haven't done anything that's obviously led to some sort of suspicion or reason to be stopped or detained. But if you're going into a public beach, it's the first day. I mean, personally, I get it. I wouldn't have had a problem if I was going to the beach and had to get patted down to walk in. It would have been an interesting conversation for my son because it does feel like something out of like, a foreign country where, we're going, it's the opening day of the beach. Well, get ready for a pat down. But given the circumstances and the situations, I mean, again, I personally, on a day like today, opening day, and if did they have a suspicion? Was there chatter on Facebook or however these groups have been communicating on Twitter or Facebook where they thought something was going to happen, or was it just
So my thoughts are
real quick. I'd like to know, are those officers on overtime? Are those extra officers they added, or are those officers being taken from their their routes or their patrol in order to go. Now we have extra officers on the clock, essentially.
So from my understanding, there were extra officers that were placed at the Montrose Beach. Many of those beaches that many people go to on days like today during the holiday, and they just want to enjoy the beach. I take issues with it because it's a public beach, and I don't know. And it's one of these weird spaces that I think that we're allowing more of our liberties to be infringed on under the guise of public safety, right? I mean, in last week, or what was that, the week before last, you had people that just kind of took over the whole street, jumping on cars. So you have these dynamics, these weird spaces, but at the same time, I don't know where the sweet spot is. Cassandra, you're out here. What do you think? What do you think, Trustee Matz, about in terms of police just frisking, going through your beach bag? What do you think? Trustee Matz, if you must be on mute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
It was a shocker when you mentioned that that's what they're doing, setting up camp. I mean, do they have fence up around there? Or there's more than one entry point to the beach? Are they frisking you when you come and you park? What does that look like? Because they can't catch everybody. And then for them to go through your cooler, where is that written? Where is that legal? For them to go through the cooler, take out liquor or beer or anything like that. What is that all about?
And that's a good question, but they were, and I saw this on CBS News this evening, they were going through these coolers and they were essentially taking out people's drinks. And again, have we gotten to a point, Jason? Have we gotten to this point now where this is acceptable for the cops to just because we're all on heightened alert, right? We all want to be protected. Have we just now gotten to the point where we're okay with just being stopped? And they interviewed a couple of people, right? They've interviewed people, and many of those people online said, hey, I mean, if it's going to keep us safe, they've almost accepted this as being the new norm.
Well, sadly, it is kind of the new norm. A friend of mine likes to say that a lot. He quoted somebody on the news that's what they told the news crews when they had a shooting in their neighborhood, that this is the Chicago norm. This is the new normal. So here's ultimately it's, I mean, if those are the rules, you're not supposed to have alcohol. They're checking for alcohol, just as if you went to a Bears game. You're going to a Bears game. They make sure you're not bringing in outside alcohol.
The Bears stadium is that public? Is that public?
But it's still under rules and regulations. The park district has a rule for no alcohol. So if I'm walking into the park with a cooler, I personally don't have a problem with opening my cooler and letting you look at my kids' juice boxes and my wife's Diet Coke. We don't drink, so it's kind of easy for that. But yeah, I guess I'd be bummed out if I planned a day to go to the beach. We're going to have a 6-pack and maybe some margarita mix or whatever people drink at the beach, and now the cops are taking it. Well, that's the rules. No alcohol at the beach. Is what that comes down to. But you're choosing to go, you're choosing to participate. They have a closing time. The beaches aren't open 24 hours a day, are they?
No, they're not open 24 hours a day. But I guess my caution, even with that, I've been, I know at some stint in my life, I drove for Uber, and a lot of times when I was up north, working in the evening hours, I would stop, right? I would stop by the lake in the evenings or whatever and look out on the lake, and the cop would quickly shoo me off. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, I'm not making out in the car. I'm just standing here at the thing. This is a public park. Like, at what point, is the beach, doesn't the beach belong to the people? Like, and they would almost treat me like a hostile witness, right? Like, you got to get out of here. But it just seems like with more of these incidents that have taken place, and we see it with the presidential powers, we see it with things that happen on a more granular scale. And then now from a local level, we're almost becoming, in my opinion, much more desensitized by police presence, the role that police have in terms of accountability out there on the streets. We went from this whirlwind of defunding the police to police now going back to kind of these military grade weapons when they come to your house with this barricade thing. It just seems like, where is the sweet spot? And again, I feel like this needs to have much more discussion, because police do need some resources. Do they need military type of weapons or stuff to protect us as civilians? Do they need to be frisking us when we go to a beach? Have we just gotten to that boiling point?
Again, if I'm walking down the street with a cooler and a backpack and an officer wants to search them, no, you're violating my personal space, you're violating my rights, and I have done nothing wrong, versus I'm choosing to go to a city beach.
A public beach.
Yes, it is public. Again, it's kind of hard to say, but ultimately I would not have a problem going to the beach and letting them search my bags on the way in. But like she said, though, she made a good point. What specifically does it look like? Are they casually just asking you to open your bag and take a look, or are they more, not so nice about it, let's say? Because it is a public beach and people's tax dollars do pay for the beach to be maintained and kept well and for us to use, because it is public. And I definitely agree with you on the 24 hours. I mean, there's no reason for anything to close, but some opponents to that might say, well, then, like parks, we don't want kids going at the park at midnight. I mean, what are kids doing at a park at midnight? Most of the time, probably just hanging out, but we do have closing times for parks. We have closing times for libraries. Libraries are public. We have very strict, or we thought very strict guidelines for schools. Schools
Right.
are public. Our tax dollars pay for those, but me and you can't just go walk in there.
No.
So, there is a balance. I'm all for, yes, if I've done nothing wrong and I'm choosing not to go to the beach, then you have no business even stopping me or getting in my way, because I'm going from point A to point B.
Yeah.
I am with you 100% there.
Yeah, and this is during the daytime. So just for the record, if you just joined the Tea and Conversation that's going on, happy Memorial Day weekend to you. But this is during normal business hours, right? This is during the daytime. So it's not a matter of hours or being after hours. These are folks that just want to take advantage of the beaches on a nice, beautiful day like today. And again, I'm sensitive, right? Because there is too much going on. I see today that they also apprehended the person that set the guy, the walking man, on fire. I don't know if you saw the story, but the young man who lives under, if you ever been down Lower Wacker or you've been in that area, this gentleman, he's a homeless person, but he's known because this is his space, right? He's known for just walking around in that particular area. And while he was sleeping last week, some individual has decided to just set this man on fire. And the answer, right? The answer when he was in front of the judge today was, why did you do it? I don't know. Because I'm angry. He set the man on fire, who essentially was being burned alive for 3 minutes. This man was on fire. Although he's homeless, no one should ever have to experience being on fire. I was thinking about this, Jason and Cassandra. It just seems like we've gotten to a point now where, we use fire to destroy people. We're using guns, we're using knives. Like, what weapon is off limits at this particular point? We've gotten to a point where we just do any, and have we just graduated through this whole, we went from knives in the early 80s. And, I don't know if you remember West Side Story, that now everybody got a gun. No more Saturday night specials. Now everybody got a gun. Why
did we go to knives in the 80s, Adam?
Because people couldn't fight?
Because they banned guns in Chicago. Wasn't that when they Daily, who was it?
You know, I'm not, Jason. I have to confess, I wasn't in Chicago. I was in another mini Chicago. I was in Detroit. So, I was in another little. I was in Little Beirut, which is Detroit, and many of the challenges that we had at that particular time were the knife fight and the occasional Saturday night special being pulled on you or what have you, or and so on and so forth. But now it seems like the crimes are getting much more heinous. It seems like the individuals that are doing some of these things, be it setting a guy on fire, like at some particular point, what are the mechanics? Is it? Can we just narrow it down to health crisis? This just seems people that are just completely.
How old was the guy or kid that they caught? I haven't watched the news all weekend, to be honest.
Right. Well, you know what? That's so weird because I don't watch the news either, but I bet because I live on the internet and I keep up with what's happening out here. The young man, and I guess you're going to call him a young man. I don't know if we should even classify him as a young man. When you set an individual on fire, that is a very monstrous act. And I don't even know if we should even say man, that he is something definitely wrong. And to set a person on fire that you knowingly know he's alive, he's in this thing, and he's already got a hard enough life. Hell, you're living up under the lower whacker. You douse him with an accelerant. So this is very deliberate, right? He saturated this person's blanket who lives up under this bridge, and then proceeds to set the span on fire, who began to run down the street on fire. I mean, I just couldn't even imagine this. And the only saving grace was somebody from that hotel saw this ball of fire running down the street and scurried to try to help put him out. And his answer, just as very chilling, was, "I'm just an angry person." Now, I don't even know where to go with that, right?
That's a severe mental illness for one.
Severe mental illness. All of these.
It's also that the basic. It's a lack of empathy. I mean, this guy is obviously another closer to top tier because it is very sick what you just said and explained. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't sitting around a campfire and you spray your buddy's shoe with lighter fluid or so, like all these videos you see that go viral are just silly kids is what I call them. But this, to do it to somebody else in a sleeping bag, and that's a very, very disturbing answer. Yeah,
very disturbing. And all of this, in my opinion, and Cassandra, I would love to hear your opinion, plays into our acceptance of some of this now normal police behavior, right? The over policing. Do we see this getting any better, or is this now random searches and curfews? Is this now just what we should expect? Trustee Matz?
Where's the over policing at? The over policing is in the city. It's not out here in the suburbs. They're not over policing out here. You know, I don't see it happening. But what is that accomplishing? Is that still, are we being targeted? Are Blacks being targeted for the over policing? You can clearly see when I go on the north side, I go on Rush Street, I don't really even need to look around or have my head on the swivel because there's a cop for every person on Rush Street to make sure that they're comfortable, to make sure that they're spending their money, that they're eating with no worries, you know, of being robbed or shot or anything like that. It's a whole hedge of protection around Rush Street so that they're comfortable. But then you go a little further south, you barely see any police officers out south. You barely see them. And then when you do see them, are they over policing? Are they so froggy that they're jumping and they're jumping when they see someone walking Black? You know, it's just mind boggling. I mean, you know, where's the delicate balance? Where's the understanding? Where's McGruff? Remember, I was in grammar school. McGruff came to the school, right? To start, you know, with officer friendly. Where are those tactics at? Right? You know, so they used to have a program where they offered the officers a home in the community. You live in this home, we're gonna give you this house. You live in this home, your squad car is parked out front. It kind of polices in silence. It kind of gives a block a sense of comfort. And then they get benefits from that. The benefit is what, you don't have a mortgage, you officer friendly on the block, you interact with the block. It kind of diffuses things. It kind of relax people to the point of now you have an understanding of who I am and I have an understanding of who you are and your role that you play. It's not rocket scientists for us to get to some happy medium here. I don't think people are trying. I don't really think they want to solve the problem. It's money in Black death all day, every day. It's money in crimes all day, every day. You got
incarcerations. Please
yeah,
don't forget.
absolutely. Yeah, it's money in that. So I don't think they're really trying to solve it. That's my point.
No, and I'll say this, and I think we can all agree that more police has never been in helping of reduce crime. It never lowers crime rates. If anything, the crime rates then go up because now there's more police stopping and frisking and targeting and arresting people because that's what they're there to do. And then now the statistics of crimes go up. So now what do we need more police, and now we need more. And it's just it's a continuous downward spiral, in my opinion.
Yeah.
More police has never reduced crime. Put it that way.
Well, I guess for me, I mean, just listening to it, and I'm just always, I'm always on heightened alert when I see what I feel like is us accepting some new normals that will eventually infringe on how many of us have come to enjoy the freedoms here in this particular country. Happy Memorial Day, everyone. If you're a veteran, thank you for your service. We are hosting Tea and Conversation today. It's a light show. I don't have any guests. I am going to be running the gambit, Mr. Decker, because I got a whole lot of junk in my trunk talking about some of the crap that I've been seeing that's coming out down the line. I don't know how many parades you were or in over the weekend. For one, I kind of stayed away from a lot of these different things because I needed to campaign. I don't have the resources, the financial resources as everyone else does. I've been looking at the money. It's flying in and out of folks' coffers. What I do have is the work ethic, and I hope that my work ethic, along with other people that are aware of the political climate, understand the importance of this particular election in my area. And I don't want to make Tea and Conversation only about Adam Winston, because it isn't only about Adam Winston, because I'm certain that I am not the only candidate that's running for office that has experienced some of the things that I've experienced. Mr. Decker, have you seen any political pieces that made your hairs on the back of your neck pull up?
I got a little list, but can we, as much as we don't want to make it about Adam Winston, do you want to clarify or make a comment about your post? Somebody got endorsed, your opponent got endorsed by somebody who never met him.
Well, so
here, want to leave that alone. I mean,
no. Listen, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you priming that pump for me, because that is exactly where I was going. So here's my thing, and again, I've been around for a number of years. It's very disingenuous for any politician to endorse a candidate that they either never met, you never met them, okay, or the person that has not. If you're, let's just use the seat that I'm running for. I'm running for Bloom Township Committeeman. So if you're watching me, you should know that I am that Adam Winston that's running for Bloom Township Committeeman. I've been a legislator for almost 12 years in the village of Glenwood. So I've done the work. I've been unifying and doing all these particular things in the Bloom Township area. It doesn't mean that I'm a genius, right? It just means that I'm a guy who's been doing the work. For somebody to move into the Bloom Township, and you have a right to move wherever you want to move, but you move into the area a month before, a month, 2 months prior to the election being held, that's a carpetbagger. I'm sorry. A lot of people are like, oh my God, carpetbagger is a bad word. It's not a bad word. Look it up in the dictionary. A carpetbagger is someone that moves into an area with the sole intention of running for office. But to add insult to injury, we have mayors from various communities throughout this Bloom Township that don't even know this individual, only may know of this individual, and know this individual does not even live or didn't live or reside in the Bloom Township area. And then to put their names on an endorsement card is insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting not only to the process. A lot of these communities that decided to put their endorsement on this card, I don't know how many of them are real or not. I don't really care. I don't think endorsements win races, but I think that it shows you why, Mr. Decker, so many people are annoyed with politicians. What do you think?
Well, as a definite outsider, see, there's a lot of division in little groups within the Democratic candidates and their circles of people, right? I mean, it's almost like two parties. The Southland is mostly Democratic. You know, most Republicans don't want to waste their time here. So I mean, I can go on for days about me being a libertarian just because I'm definitely an outsider. I'm not just an outsider of your circle, but I mean, God forbid I even like publicly talk to you, you know, what can happen and the ramifications. And so, you know, I get it. And it's like I said, I made a post about it the other day. I did a very short, I know I talk a lot, but I did a very short introductory paragraph or two about who I am, why I was running for office. I'm always willing to discuss and talk anything with you. And, you know, I kept it short. And I just said, here's my contact info, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I sent that to every single mayor and every single trustee and every single alderperson in my district. And I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of responses. I knew that, you know, I'd either get ignored or, you know, I got two. And one was from someone in Olympia Fields who said, we're working on our budget right now, but I'd like to talk to you more, maybe after, you know, after we get the budget figured out, maybe in the fall or I don't remember. It was a little while back. And then I got another email back from a mayor that said, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, so again, I'm not looking for
and you know, Mr. Decker, so here's my thing. I'm like you, I am not looking for I always say this, and I'm going to probably catch a little flack. I've been an orphan, right? So I'm okay with being, you know, learning that I have to learn how to play with myself. I don't need a whole lot of folks around me, but I'm more concerned with. I don't think that we should be insulting the voter, and I look at endorsements from certain people. Jesse White, when has Jesse White come to Bloom Township to endorse anybody, right? And then the man is senile. Nothing, you know, listen, my mother had dementia. And so I get it, right? But to use this as an endorsement piece is insulting. It's insulting to those individuals that are expecting politicians to be fair and honest and transparent. If he did it, he did it.
Here's a good one. Next time that comes up, reach out to that person and say, why? Tell me why you endorse this candidate. Because I've seen
but Mr. Decker, how are you going to ask? But how are you going to ask a person who's suffering from dementia why he endorsed the candidate? You know what I mean? So my thoughts on this particular topic is that how much do endorsements matter? Michelle, you're on the phone. Do you feel like an endorsement is going to force you one way or another to support a candidate? Do you look at those endorsements as the gospel, or do you just look at them and say, oh, well, I'm still have my pick?
I think it depends on who the endorsement comes from, especially if I don't know who the candidates are.
Yes.
I do try to find out who the candidates are before I vote, but I will be quite honest with you. There are a lot of people who I don't know who they are. There are many times I have gone in the voting booth, especially with judges, and be like, oh, you sound good. I have no clue who these people are. So if there was an endorsement from somebody I felt like had done a good job in what they do, and I quote unquote trust, then I might vote for the person that they're endorsing if I don't have a reason not to.
Right. So endorsements again, and I thank you, Michelle, for that, and happy Memorial Day to you as well. But endorsements to me, endorsements to me, and again, I'm not. Please, I know I'm getting the pings. I'm not making fun of Jesse White's condition. That's a very serious condition, and nobody would probably know that if you aren't in the circle. I kind of happen to be in this political space, Jason, so you get it. You know, you see guys that you don't see all the time. You may see them on television or whatever. So believe me, I'm not making light of his condition. However, for a candidate,
as an example,
that's it. And so I know I'm going to get. I've already seen the comments. I see them coming in. I'm not making fun of his condition at all, and I'm not making fun. And people with dementia do have moments of where they are themselves and then they snap out of it. But to exploit that, I just don't think it's fair. I'm more concerned with, I guess, I guess I could just put a card together and say, they endorse me as well, right? And you know what? There's no ramification for that. I just think that it's just disingenuous. It's disingenuous to create a card that says I will always put Bloom Township first when you just moved here a month ago. I don't even know how that can be even a possible. And then secondly is then you got folks on here that saying that they endorse you and or endorse your run, and you didn't even live here 2 months ago. So I'm just completely stumped for all of the mayors that decided to put their name on a card that absolutely, why would you even undermine your own credibility? What were you going to say, Mr. Decker?
I kind of forget now, but that's, again, I'll repeat what I said earlier, is it's the person endorsing too. Then you start wondering, like, if you're just endorsing this person, but no, what I was going to say is there's the mention. You know, when you talk about endorsements, there's the mention or just the simple, like, oh, endorsed by so-and-so. There's the other endorsements where you actually get a paragraph or two by someone who's endorsing a candidate and explaining why. This is why I'm endorsed. This is why I'm putting my name on this person running. And this is why I have faith in this candidate.
Right. So. Right. So Mr. Decker, so speaking on that, so and this speaks directly to your seat. Okay, this speaks directly to your seat. And okay. I just found out on our ballot, Michelle, I don't know, have you looked at a sample ballot yet? Michelle, have you looked at a sample ballot? Because if she didn't look at a sample ballot, your territory, Mr. Decker, it's larger, right? So your territory is larger. The fifth district.
Larger than what?
I'm sorry?
Larger than what?
Well, my commissioner used to be Donna Miller.
Right.
She's no longer my commissioner. It would now fall under that fifth district.
You're in the fifth?
I am in the fifth.
Wow.
So my district now.
I sent you that map.
Yeah, I went to the State Board of Elections. I punched in a sample ballot for my area. Gotcha. And now my area is no longer Donna Miller. My area would be Deborah Sims. Now I'm saying that for a reason. Deborah Sims used to be the 5th district commissioner.
Well, technically she still is.
And okay, so technically you're right. Technically she's still the 5th district commissioner. And I'm Jason, I don't even want you to answer this. I want the rest of the guests to answer this.
Okay.
If Deborah Sims endorses a candidate, does that motivate you to support the person she's endorsing? Especially if you don't necessarily feel like that candidate did enough. Trustee Matz, do you have anything to say?
I'm sorry, Adam, what was the question?
So do you feel that a person who's currently sitting in that seat that endorses another candidate, does that increase their credibility for that seat? Would that make you decide, because this person who sat in there for 30 years, how many years, Jason?
25.
25 years. I've seen her, I think 5 times, maybe if that, in 25 years. Would her endorsement of a candidate make you decide to support that candidate?
Wow, that's a loaded question right there, Trustee
Well, let me see if I can put it another way. If you feel, and let's take away the 5th district. So I don't even want to talk about the 5th district. Okay, let's make it fair, Jason. But if say for instance, your feelings about a candidate were not the best, right? Because that past person didn't do enough, and then they come out and endorse another candidate. Does that make you feel like, well, if she's endorsing him, oh, I'm out? Michelle, your hand is up.
Well, I was going to say, because I am not a politician, the question isn't as loaded for me. At least I believe that's why she's saying that, why Trustee Metz is saying that. For me, I would have to say that if an incumbent or someone who had been in the office for a long time is endorsing someone else for the position because they're not running anymore, whether I would take their endorsement to make my vote would be based on the kind of work that they did while they were in the job. If they did a great job for me and they're saying this is the person that I want to hand the reins over to, then I'm going to trust that this person is going to do at least try to do as good of a job, because I felt like the person who was in the position did a great job. Now, these people who you're speaking of, I would not take their endorsement only because I cannot name a thing that they've done.
And that's where I was kind of going with that, Trustee Matz. I guess my concern is and I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not trying to lead anybody, Mr. Decker. All I'm saying is if I didn't, and I don't necessarily feel that and she wasn't my commissioner. Okay, she wasn't even my commissioner, so I can say that. Okay, I can say that. Okay, but as an elected official in the village of Glenwood, as an elected official who's active, I'm not just one of these slugs. I'm not a slug, Jason. Okay, I am everywhere you want to be. I'm like American Express. So I'm in her areas. I'm in all of these areas, and anybody knows me, I am everywhere you want to be, right? And for me to not really place a lot of value on her tenure, and this is just, she wasn't even my commissioner. Donna Miller. I always want to call her Donna Summer. Donna Miller was my commissioner, and I thought she did a fairly good job. She tried to keep us in the know, yada yada yada. She's no longer my commissioner. Why would I vote, or why would I take her endorsement? Trustee Matz, your hand is up.
So, although I said that was a loaded question, which it is, you really have to break it down into compartments, right? So and I believe in term limits. So when I say I believe in term limits, depends on that seat. Every 4 years, there's a limit, right? That's the term is up. Every 2 years, the term is up. That's why I believe in term limits. Based on what you do in that seat would be if you're going to be re-up, right? Yes. So if I did a great job where I keep getting reelected, I'm going to start grooming my exit strategy. Someone in my office who's been riding with me, who's been watching policy, who's been watching how the job is done, someone in my office is who I am going to endorse, put into that seat. Because when you get someone in that seat, you want them ready to rock and roll. You don't want them to have to play catch up, learn the job, learn the area, and so on and so forth. There is no succession plan. I see none, i.e. Bobby Rush, i.e. Danny Davis, i.e.
S.E. White.
There is no plan. And then they go outside of the office and pull someone green into the office and say, oh, this person will be great. This person will be wonderful. I mean, it's just all made up. Right?
It's called a puppet. It's called a puppet. That's what it's called. You grab somebody that you can control. Okay. And
Oh, what great,
I'm sorry, I
great
had to go
props,
there.
Adam. Great
But why they choose you are in the seat for 25 years, and I don't give a. I'm at a point. A little fired up, Miss Matson. Okay, I'm at Mats, not Matson. But I've watched this individual for a number of years. You don't have at 25 years. You don't have one person from your office that you would recommend in that seat. You mean to tell me, Jesse White, you've been in the seat all these years, you didn't have not one person you thought that was, oh my God, I trained them and they're ready to go. And then to add insult to injury, a person who's been in this particular seat for that many years, handpicks a person, and then we're supposed to now, because you're been in that seat, and we're supposed to listen to that nonsense. I hope the voters are smarter than that. Now, my fear and my concern with rhetoric like this, right? With rhetoric like this, that they do not buy into stupidity, right? Because this is absolutely tomfoolery, right? For a person who's suffering from some challenges, and I didn't say, listen, the people out here that are telling me don't get me fired up today, okay? I haven't even started drinking yet. Okay, but your governor said what he thought about him, right, Mr. White? He said it back in the day. You can Google it or YouTube it or whatever about what he felt about Jesse White, and for Jesse White to say anything, and I don't believe he did, about Bloom. Why would he come all the way out of Bloom? We ain't even number 2. We're number 3. But then for them to take his words, whatever, because of his suffering and twist them and make them into what they want them to be, I think it's insulting to the very people who we're supposed to be representing. To move into the community in 2 months, you only been in Bloom, but now you're going to always put Bloom first. What is this complete foolery? Now, Mr. Decker.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
It's hijinks and shenanigans, as Brian Decker would say.
And the sad part about it, Trustee Mats and Michelle, the sad part about it, this sorcery, because that's what I'm calling this garbage, this sorcery could actually work. Mr. Decker, what are you going to do about it?
Well, just real quick, I would like, see, in situations like this, as always, I always want to know what that person wants to say. And I know rule 1 is never acknowledge the haters, never engage with people who are being negative or abrasive. But if somebody just clearly asked him, you said, like this guy you're talking about, you said you're going to always care about Bloom Township. Well, what does that mean when you just moved here? Like, what would he say to that? What would his answer be? It would be hijinks and shenanigans, or some boilerplate, type of response.
And again, I take exception to this because they don't know the average voter. And sorry, Michelle, sorry, anybody out there in the viewing world. And if you are going to sponsor a TN Conversation, I would use your sponsorship, Walmart's. But most of the voters are Walmart shoppers. Okay, you are going to at Walmart's. You will save a dime. You will save a dime, Trustee Mats. You will save a dime, Michelle. But you will lose all faith in humanity. I don't even go into the place, okay? I don't want to save a dime and then lose all faith in humanity. The average voter is a Walmart shopper. They're not interested in nothing but price. They're not interested in how you present the stuff. I'm a Target shopper. If you ever see, but I'm just saying, and nothing against Walmart. I don't shop there, but my thoughts are the voters don't know. That's my point. We really just don't know. And if not enough people are allowing ourselves to be played with rhetoric that's just completely just out of touch with the reality. It's out of touch. And how do I match that, Mr. Decker? How do I match that, Michelle? I don't have David Gonzalez war chest money.
Do you want to? What do you mean by match that? You want to?
I mean to undo the tomfoolery that they're putting out there.
I wish I could have enough time to reach every voter in the district.
Me too.
I mean, I have all my voter rolls cleaned up. I've been hitting the streets as much as I can. 95% of the people I talk to say that they're going to vote for me. If I can continue that between now and November and just have one-on-one conversations with these people and just clearly explain that no one's going to work harder, that no one is going to put their boots on the ground and roll their sleeves up, be present, be engaging, be responsive, and just be there. You know, that's why I'm running, is because
Right.
that's what I want to see in my elected officials. Like you said earlier, Adam, you're everywhere. It may not even be in Glenwood. You might be out, like you said, you're out of Glenwood, but you're doing something. You're doing something positive. You're bringing smiles to somebody.
I'm trying, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to always get it right. But what it does mean, Jason, when I see you in these videos and you're going into these abandoned houses and you're boarding up these abandoned houses and you're trying to make certain that young people can walk by schools without getting pulled into a house. If you saw what happened over there in Roseland last week, I don't know if you saw the story, but a young lady was pulled into a house and chained up to a radiator and raped over a weekend. And even with her screams, nobody even acknowledged her for 2 days. So what you're doing when you board up these houses, Jason, gives me some peace of mind that my young person can walk by that abandoned building with some creep living out there. It gives me some solace that we're not all Walmart shoppers, Jason. Some of us believe in humanity and actually want to make certain that we save who we can while this ship or people are being set on fire. And when I see insults, and I look at this as an insult, because you're insulting the intelligence of the people. Our mayor, I'm not sorry. Why would anybody take his endorsement as the gospel? So when I look at his endorsement on here, the endorsement, and I don't even understand the mayor of Homewood. He's never endorsed anybody on anything. And then now he thinks she's the great. I guarantee you he don't even know her. I can almost guarantee you he doesn't even know her. This was one of those get along to go along or go along to get along type of moments. And it's a disservice to people like yourself, Mr. Decker, people like myself, Trustee Matz, and all of the individuals out here that are doing the work. It's an insult. And they should have to answer, how did you come up with this? What was the process for your endorsement? Because if I'm the committee person, there will be a process in order for you to be endorsed. And it won't be me waving my magic wand, Mr. Decker.
Well, that's what it comes down to is what people want to say, real talk. Let's have some real talk and have a conversation about why this candidate deserves my endorsement, or why this candidate deserves your vote, or why you should vote for this person over somebody else. And you know, sadly, that's Illinois for you, that's Cook County for you, and that's specifically the Southland for you.
Yes.
It's a big, like George Carlin said, it's a big club and we ain't in it.
No, and you know what? And that's unfortunate.
Unless
we should be in it.
Play ball and kiss the ring.
Yeah. So there are many. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I'm going to digress. I'm going to pivot a little bit. If you haven't had an opportunity to see the ballot, I would advise you, because there are an enormous amount of people that are on, especially when it comes to these judges. If you're in the village of Glenwood, I have never seen what I've seen over the past couple of days. You will see some signs out in our area that say Adam Shorter, Democratic Committee, Central Democratic Committeeman. It is not the same thing as my seat. It is like I guess it's a mother and father, a mother or father and son. If you were in retail, you would understand what I mean. There's a parent skew and then a baby skew. The regular township committeeman would be considered the baby skew, but Adam Shorter is another individual that's running for Central Committeeman against Will Davis. Now, I don't know about that one, and I don't know about that one at all. Okay, because Will Davis. What do you got to say, Jason? Mr. Decker, what do you got to say? You know Mr. Davis, right?
I do. Well, I mean, not personally, but he is my state representative.
And now he's over here in the village of Glenwood. So Mr. Davis, along with this young man who's a trustee over in Matheson, is running for the central committee seat. I didn't even know that. I thought you had to be a state rep in order to run for a central committee seat. But in any event, obviously not. He's on the ballot. He's running for the seat. Does anybody even know what the central committee person does? Trustee Matz, what do they do?
Sorry, Adam, I'm doing 2 Zooms at once.
No worries. I'm sorry. Well, the central committee person, generally, our central committee person over in my neck of the woods has always been like Robin Kelly. It's been Danny Davis. There are always these big name senators and so on and so forth because it's such a broad area. All of a sudden this year, out of the blue, the central committee seat has become somewhat of a big deal. Are you watching this at all, Mr. Decker, or are you just like, well, it is what it is? We do. Should we even care about the central committee seat?
Well, I mean, it's a party seat. You know, it's similar to the township committeeman, but you just have more influence and more power, and more people want to kiss your rings.
And it's more broad. It's more broad.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not too familiar. I don't know how big the area is. It could be for the whole state if it's central.
Mm-hmm.
What was the title?
So no, central would be so it's the central committee seat. Let me see. So the central committee seat encompasses and I'm looking it up right now. So bear with me for a brief moment. You know what? Oh my God, I almost forgot. So it's the central. Robin Kelly is one of ours over in this area, and then she's the Democratic State Central Committee woman. So you have a man and a woman. So it's two seats, and then you have I guess it's still the Central Committee men. So they have a woman and they have a man. You have to have one of each. So you got Robin Kelly, who's our Central Committee woman, and then now you have to choose a Central Committee man. They don't interchange the names. You're either Central Committee person or you're Central Committee men. There it is. So you have a choice to pick 2. So hopefully people are paying attention to that. But if you're in my neck of the woods and you start seeing Adam Shorter, that isn't me. That is another individual who's running for a committee seat, but it's a much larger committee seat. It isn't the Bloom Township area. That's the one that I'm running for, and that's the one that I'm hoping that I earn your support for. I have to ask this question. So we didn't have a meeting last week. My son graduated, okay? Robin Kelly chairs the whole state of Illinois. I just got a message. So Robin Kelly chairs the whole state of Illinois, and then you have these other individuals that are up under her. So she's the grandmother. How ironic. But in any event, Robin Kelly, I love you like a stepmama. But here is my thing, okay? Have you heard about Carmen Navarro, right? LaTanya Ruffin, both have been reinstated on the ballot. Have you been following this at all, Mr. Decker?
No, I didn't even know LaToya did she get thrown off?
You know what? That has been one of the most I don't know what the hell is going on with the sheriff's office, right? But folks have been thrown off, they've been put back on, they've been thrown off. I think that's what's holding up the ballot, right? And at this particular time, from what I understand, you got Carmen Navarro, you have LaTanya Ruffin, both have been guests on Tea and Conversation, and I think both of them are excellent candidates. They've been right here, and they've taken the blows and what have you, right here on Tea and Conversation. You have Nolan, and then you have Tom Dart. But Carmen Navarro surprised most people, but last Monday, right here, I wanted to do a special show. She was reinstated back on the ballot, and she is now running her race, which if you're a Carmen Navarro fan, you will now have an opportunity to vote for her. The judges, the appellate found her There's no reason for her not to be certified on the ballot. And they found that same reason. They found the same thing with LaTanya Ruffin, who's been dealing with this whole challenge. Now, here's my thing: why are these two women? Why are these two women? They are. Tom Dart hates them. Okay. He does not, and I've never seen a person, he is so hell-bent on removing both of them off of the ballot that he is going to lengths even farther than I even knew you could go. What is going on? What is really going on with this, Mr. Decker?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't been following it, to be honest.
Oh my God. Trustee Madge, are you available? What is going on with Tom Dart going after these women that are running for the seat?
I think he's just running scared. This has been a situation where he's just got really complacent and comfortable. Never really had any challengers. People are scared to throw their hat or dress in a race against him. And you had these two women that were fearless. They had nothing to lose, but everything to gain, So it's like, why not? So now that he sees some traction, he see that these women have a chance to unseat him. Of course, he's going to try to do everything up front so they don't ever get on the ballot. How unfair is that to the residents? How unfair is that to the constituents, people who should be afforded choices and options? So you're going to knock everybody off so you'll be the only choice?
Well, you
That's
got
not
Nolan.
the Democratic way.
You got Nolan.
Yeah, well, apparently he's not a threat to Tom Dart.
Listen,
but these women are. These women are.
I have never seen such just fearlessness in terms of making certain that those two women are removed from the ballot. And even, like I said, even after they've been sworn in, he's still coming. At some point, you got to print the ballot, Mr. Dart, and you just got to drop that case. It becomes a moot point. This has gone on too far. You just got to let the cookies or the chips fall where they are so that we can all move on and may the best man or woman win their race, okay? The other thing, we didn't have a chance to talk last week, but the most interesting thing that happened, I can't wait till I get my soundboard. The mayor of Maywood was arrested under DUI. Why is this important, Mr. Decker?
You got me, dude. I don't know.
Oh my God, Mr. Decker, I wish you were right here. I wish you were just right here. The mayor of Maywood is also an individual's campaign manager, and that campaign manager is the manager of the person who's essentially running against you. So my thoughts are, this has gotten absolutely insane, and it has gotten out of hand. He was driving last Sunday on 94 and was pulled over for a DUI. He is the mayor of Maywood. I did post it in COG. He is also my competition's campaign manager and yours, Mr. Decker. These are things you people should know. Now, nobody's asking the question. He was driving a city car. He's the mayor of Maywood. What is really going on? I know I'm being messy.
Well, here's my thing, Adam. I get messages all the time of screenshots of posts and the posts themselves, like the link to a post of what certain other candidates are doing or where they're at, or, and I'm not trying to play catch up. I'm not trying to play keep up with the Joneses or, trying to like, oh, well, this is going on here, so I should go there or I should go there tomorrow, make sure,
Is it a reflection? Is it a reflection? I remember when Mr. Trump was running for office, when he was running for president, and crap was happening in his campaign, when McCain was running for office and things were happening in his campaign where people were going rogue and doing their own thing. Is it a reflection of the dysfunctionality that's within that campaign? So for me, it's not a matter of keeping up. Is it reflective of the leadership style that we may be getting kind of a glimpse of what the future may lie or look like under this particular leadership?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, when you have a team, even the manager, I mean, who knows how many managers there are in a campaign. Specific campaigns might have a specific manager for this and this and this. So I personally wouldn't hold it directly against the candidate if somebody from their team happened to be arrested for DUI, because everybody makes mistakes and everybody makes poor choices. It's now what though? Is it forgiven and you're going to stay as manager? Is it forgiven and you're going to come right back to work? Or, I mean, that's what it really comes down to. It's not what happens, it's what happens after.
Michelle, isn't it nice that these virgin candidates, they play so nice?
I'm not playing. That's my honest answer.
They're
Adam,
like, oh.
I actually agree with Jason on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know this man. I know nothing about his life. I don't know. Hopefully he didn't injure anybody in his drunken driving. But, but for the grace of God, there go I.
Where is
I mean,
Matt?
I don't drive drunk anymore, but I certainly have. So it's
where is Matt? I want to know where Mothers Against Drunk Drivers are. That is
they're drunk driving right now. Leave them alone.
Listen, I want to see the tape. Okay. In any event, if you're just joining me, I am Adam Winston, trustee Adam Winston, also running for Bloom Township Committeeman. This is Tea and Conversation. We are just shooting the breeze on this Memorial Day celebration. And we have had some candid conversation. Next week, we are going to start getting into my favorite subject. We're going to just dedicate, Mr. Decker, we're going to dedicate the whole month to Father's Day, because personally, I don't think we get enough in terms of Father's Day with some of the things that we have to put up with. Our wives buying us barbecue grills only to make us cook on Father's Day for them. It is such a travesty. Michelle, don't you start nothing with me. We talked about this last year, but if I bought you a vacuum on Mother's Day, you would throw that vacuum in my face. We have got to start celebrating our men, okay? Because men are people too. I'm about sick of these restaurants. You don't even need a reservation on Father's Day. What do you got to say, Michelle?
I would say send that energy to your children, because they are the ones who need to honor you on Father's Day.
Listen, I already told the ex, take the kids and go. I don't want, okay? If you want to make my Father's Day a celebration, take the kids and go. No, I'm just kidding. I actually like my kids. But next week, we're going to start our conversation and our celebration to all of the fathers out there. We're also going to be talking about real soon about the community garage sale. I want the community garage sale to come back. We've been doing it. It's kind of been on a hiatus over the last couple of years because of the COVID, but I don't even know why, right? Last year, it was a community garage sale. I did tell people, if you need the signs, holler at me. I can get you the signs. But I would like to do our community garage sale. There's no board meeting this week in the village of Glenwood. It is campaign season. We got 13 days before early voting. A little bit more than 13 days, but we got a few days to get going and get our support aligned so that each one of us as candidates will have our best opportunity to win this particular election. Good luck to each and every one of you. We're all going to need it because the machine is busy.
Adam, how many candidates are running in your race?
It's only me and her.
Okay.
So this individual that I'm running against, which makes it even more insulting, what meeting is she going to go to, Mr. Decker? If the commissioner meeting is on the same day as the committee meeting, which is on the same day as her board meeting with Prairie State, which one is she going to attend?
They somehow manage. There's a lot of.
You know what? I'm not giving her a prosthetic. She ain't got that much energy. Okay, so my thoughts are this: is when you go to the polls, we got to think about all of those particular things. Okay, come on, where's your commitment? That's all I'm saying. If you told the voters a year ago when you decided to run for that seat at the school, which there was another candidate that was much more qualified for that particular seat, you chose to run against them. If you told the voters you were going to do your 4 years, do the 4 years, okay? Because I already know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to quit. In any event, I'm not going to go there because it's just about our time. Happy Memorial Weekend to each and every one of you. This has been fun. I always like it when I can just shoot from the hip and I don't have to be all organized, right, Michelle? Happy Memorial Day. Until next Monday, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Happy Monday.